we use in our programming language is command line user interface. Or can be used in various platforms such as Windows, Linux, Mac. RStudio is an integrated development environment for our programming language. What do you mean by an IDE or integrated development environment? IDE is a GUI where you can write your code, visualize the results, and you will be able to see the values of the variables that are generated during execution. Various versions of RStudios are available, such as open source as well as commercial. Different editions of RStudio are also there, desktop and server. When you open an RStudio IDE, you will be able to see a screen like this. So, this one is the icon of RStudio, and you will be able to see various panels such as console panel, file plot and packages, helper viewer panel, this one, and environment history and connection panel. And the R scripts are written here. Let's discuss about the various panels present in the RStudio. First one is the console panel. Here we are able to write or type any commands and see the results of the commands. Next one is environment or history panel. Environmental or history panel consists of the variables that are generated. And in the history panel, you will be able to see all the previous commands. This environmental panel is located at the top of the RStudio, and the console panel is located at the bottom position of the RStudio. The next one is file plot packages and help viewer panel. Files and directories that are available in the default working space are shown in the file panel. Then in the plot panel, you will be able to show all the plots that are generated during execution. And next one is the packages tab, which shows all the currently installed packages as well as the user interface to install a new one. As usual, helper tab contains our documents. Viewer tab is used to view all the local web content. Before going into the details of the R programming language, you need to set the working directory. For setting the working directory, you need to add the command set wd. Set wd is the command, and it is followed by the directory path within quotes. So, for example, if the directory is located in the home folder, and suppose if there is a folder known as ds, then you need to write like this. So what's the need of comments in the R programming language? The aim of comments is to improve the readability of the code. Its purpose and the algorithms is used for explaining the purpose of code. In order to generate documentation, we can use some external documentation generators. Various types of comments exist, such as single line comment and multiple line comment. In order to use a single line comment, you can insert a hash symbol at the start of the comment. Multiple line comments can be inserted using cursors and then press Ctrl plus Shift plus C, then using GUI. In order to clear the console, you need to click at the console and then press Ctrl plus L. It will not clear the variables in the workspace. It is most important thing. Okay, how to clear the environment? You can use rm command. Then to clear the single variable, you can use rm. Then within bracket, you need to write the variable. For example, to clear a variable value, you can write like this, rm value. To clear all the variables, you can use rm, then within bracket, list equal to ls, then a opening bracket, closing bracket. How to save the data from the workspace? The data in the workspace is temporary. It will not be retained after a session. If you want to save a data permanently, you can use file save command. The data saved using file save command can be reloaded as and when required by the user. How to save the workspace? To save a single variable A, you can issue a command like this. Save, then it is followed by A, then it is followed by file equal to within quotes sec1 dot rdata. Actually, this one is the file name. File name of and this portion rdata is the extension of the file name. So in order to save the whole workspace, you can use a command like this. Save list equal to ls all dot names equal to true. This represents full workspace, and it is followed by a file name. File equal to sec1 dot rdata. Here again, this sec1 denotes the file name and rdata is the extension of the file name. In order to save the whole workspace, you can issue a command like this, save.image. After saving the workspace, suppose in future you may need to load the saved workspace. At that time, you can issue a command like this, load file equal to sec.rdata. This one is the file name of the saved working space. Then about variable convention, as in every programming language, the allowed characters are alphanumeric, hyphen and underscore. Variables usually always start with alphabets. Special characters like exclamation mark, at the rate, dollar, etc. are not allowed. Some examples. Basic data types include logical, integer, numeric, complex, and character. Okay, some commands used in our programming language. First command is type O. This command is used to determine the data type of the object. Syntax is like this. Type O followed by object. For example, if you want to know the type of an object named A, then you can write like this. This one is the object. Okay, in order to verify if the object is of certain data type, you can use a command like is. So syntax of is command, this is dot data type underscore type of object. Actually, this one is the data type. For example, if you want to know whether A is of integer type, then you can write is dot integer. Is dot data type is the syntax. So here you need to write is dot integer within bracket object A. Next one is to convert data type of an object to another. For example, if you want to convert an integer A to an integer, then you can write like this. A is dot integer of A, and syntax is A is dot data type. Data type is integer of the object. Object is A. Some basic objects in our programming language. Some objects are vector, list, and data frame. Vector means it is an ordered collection of same data type. Then list is the ordered collection of objects, and data frame is the generic tabular object. We will see the detail of these objects in the coming slides. Then about vectors. Vector means it is an ordered collection of basic data type of a given length. All the elements present in the vector must be of same data type. For example, suppose if we want a vector x with elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you need to issue a command like this. So C represents the concatenation. So X equal to C of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then after that, this means that a vector X is created with elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you print the contents of X, you will get the content of the vector X. This one is a screenshot of the console panel. So as you see, in the console panel, you will be able to see command prompt like this. This greater than simple. This one is the cursor position. At the cursor position, you need to type these two commands like this. And this one is this portion is the output. This Actually, this is the output and this one is the line number of the output. This one within square bracket represents the line number. Next data object is list. It consists of an ordered collection of objects. List may consist of a numeric vector or a logical one or a matrix or a complex vector, a character array, a function and so on. Suppose you want to create a list of employees with these three fields: attribute ID, employee name and number of employees. So field name are attribute ID, employee name and number of. How to represent this comment? So we are having three fields: attribute ID, employee name and number of employees. Here we are assuming we are having 4 employees and assume that the attribute IDs are 1, 2, 3, 4 and the names are Ram, Rag, Sita and Geeta. So now we can write the comment. So first field is employee ID equal to ID is a vector. So in order to represent a vector, we need to use concatenation. Concatenating the elements. Which elements? 1, 2, 3, 4. The next field is employee.name. Employee.name means we are having 4 employees: Ram, Rag, Sita and Geeta. So again this one is another vector. So you need to represent it as C of Ram, Rag, Sita and Geeta. The next field is num.emp. We are having 4 employees, so number equal to 4. Next, we are representing the list. So in the list, we are having 3 fields. This ID, then it is followed by employee name, then it is followed by number.employee. So after that, this list is stored in this employee.list. So we need to print the emp.list. Actually, this list is similar to structure in C. Here in this example, first is the numeric vector, that is ID is the numeric vector, and the second one is the character vector, and we are combining all the data type into a list which contains the list of employees with the help of the comment list. Okay, this one is the screenshot of the console panel, and up to this one is the program code. We need to type this program code in the console panel. Okay, then the remaining thing is the output. This one is the output of this code. So this represents the first field of the list. And this represents first field. That means one within 2 square brackets. And this one represents the first line of the output. This means within the first field, we are having values 1, 2, 3, 4. And this represents the second field. And within the second field, the values are Ram, Rag, Sita and Geeta. And the next one is the third field. Within the third field, you are having only one value. And the first line of that output is 4. This represents the first line only. And this represents the field Please remember the notation. Then how to access the component of the list? All of the components of the list can be named. For example, we are having the list named as emp.list. In that, we are having three fields: attribute ID, employee name, and number of employees. So first field is ID. First field is ID. This one is the first field. So we are naming this ID as ID. So naming must be within double quotes. So next field is emp.name. The name of emp.name field is name. So represent it within double quotes. And total staff is the name of num.emp. So this one is the code. In order to print the name of the employee list, you need to print like this, where this emp.list is the name of list. After that, you need to put a dollar symbol. After that, the field name. Your field name is names. Okay, these are the screenshots. So first we are naming the attributes ID, emp.name and emp number, and this one is the print emp.list $names. That is emp.name. We are given a name to the field emp.name as names. So we can use names after that. So print emp.list $names will give you the names of the attribute emp.name. Actually, the names are Ram, Rag, Sita and Geeta. And this one represents the first line of the output. Okay, how to access the components? To access the top level components, you can use double slicing. That is, you can use two square brackets or a single bracket. Square bracket must be within double quotes. Just remember this one. Okay, and for lower or inner component, we just use single square bracket along with double square bracket. In order to access, for example, in order to access the first field ID, you can issue a command like this. It is print emp list. Within two square brackets, you need to write 1. 1 represents the first attribute. So this one is a screenshot. So is the content of ID? It is 1, 2, 3. So output is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one represents the first line of the output. To access the inner component of ID, use this command. Print emp list 1, then it is followed by 1. First one must be in double square bracket and the next one will be in single square bracket. Okay, actually in the ID is the first attribute and we need to access the first element of the first attribute. This command is used to print the first element of the first attribute. Okay, the screenshot is like this one. So what is the first field ID? What is the first element of the ID? It is 1. So this output will be 1. Okay. The next example is to access the first name of the employee list. Name of the employee list is the second field. So here we need to issue like this. 2 must be within square bracket, and after that we need the first name of the first name. We need first name. So second component is 1 within single square bracket. So what is the first name in the employee list? It is Ram. So output is Ram here. Okay. Now this can be modified by accessing the components, and we can just replacing them. For example, if you want to modify the previous employee list by adding one more employee. Now the total number of staff is 4, and if you add one more employee, then the total number of staff will be 5. Assume that the new employee's name is Modi and employee ID is 5. So new code will be like this. This one is the new code. Okay. So first line represents emb.list total staff. Total staff represents the name of the number of employees, and it will be 5. Okay. Previously it was 4. Now it is 5. Now we need to modify or add a new employee. It is a way of modification only. So Modi means it is a name field. So it is the second field. And in the second field, fifth member as Modi. So emb.list 2, 5 equal to Modi. Next, emb.list 1, 5 equal to 5. This represents the ID. EMB list, 1 is the first field. First field is the ID. ID of the fifth member is 5. Because the Modi's ID is 5. Now we can print the employee list. emb.list 1, 5 equal to 5 means accessing element 5 and modifying it as 5. This one is a screenshot of the console panel. This is the code. And the remaining portion is the output. So this one is the output. Okay. If we are adding a command, print emb.list, the other attributes ID. So first one is ID. So $ID means it will display all the members of the ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just we are adding the fifth member. So the list is modified, and the next field is name. List is modified with Modi as the last member. Total number of staff is 5. Okay. Next about concatenation of list. Two lists can be concatenated using the concatenation function C of list 1 comma list 2. So for example, suppose we want to modify the previous list employee. Now we are adding another attribute age. So we need to concatenate the employee age with the original list. Original list name is employee.list. Okay. So we are creating a new list emb.age. It is a list. Okay. And the attribute of that list is named as age. This age within double quotes means the name of the attribute. It is a list. Okay. So we need to create an array. Sorry, not array, it's a vector. C of 23, 24, 25, 40, 30. This represents the age of the 5 members we had created earlier. So we are adding new attribute to the employee list. So we have the previous list emb.list. So we are concatenating both this emb list and emb age using the concatenation function C. Then once we issue a command print emb.list, it will contain how many attributes? 5 attributes. Sorry, 4 attributes. ID, name, number of employee and age. This is a screenshot of the console panel. And so let's look at the output portion. First field is ID. So now we have 5 members 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next field is name. Ram, Rag, Sita, Geeta, Modi. And total number of staff, it is 5. And let's check. The last attribute is age with elements 23, 24, 25, 40, 30. So the list is modified. Next object is data frame. It is a generic data object of R. This data frame is used to store the tabular data. Actually, this one is the most common data object used in R programming language. It can be thought of as a matrix. What is a matrix? It consists of column as well as rows. And here, each column of the matrix is of different data type. It is not of the same data type. Each column is having different data type. So the syntax is like this. Data.frame, and within that, arguments. For example, we can create a numeric vector and 2 character vector. Okay, so first one is the numeric vector. So numeric vector, this one is the numeric vector. So with elements 1, 2, 3. And we are using concatenation function. Next one is the character vector. This one is the character vector with elements R, Scilab, Java within double quotes. And we are again using concatenation function. Third one is another character vector with elements for prototyping, for scalar within double quotes. Again using concatenation function. And next one is we are creating a data frame with vectors with the above 3 vectors. Vector 1, vector 2 and vector 3. And we can issue a print command after that. Okay, this one is the screenshot. So this is a code. Okay, this is the output. Just check. First one is the vector 1. This column represents vector 1. This column represents vector 2. And the final column, this column represents the third vector. So what is the content of the first vector? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Second vector R, Scilab, Java, R, Scilab, Java. And third vector is for prototyping and for scalar. Okay. Also note that each column contains the same data. We cannot represent different data using a single column. Okay, creating a data frame using data from a file. Syntax is like this. This one is the syntax. New df equal to read.table, path equal to path of the file. Okay, for path you need to use this slash instead of this slash. This default separator here is space. Separator can be a comma or tab. This is another syntax. Here this separator can be a comma or tab.